Alright, Autodesk Revit architectural no experience required. 2015, no experience required. This is wrote by Eric Wing. Copyright 2014 by John Wiley Sons Incorporated, Indianapolis, Indiana. Alright, Chapter 1, Autodesk Revit Real World, creating a model, creating views, working with Autodesk Revit tools, 5 dimension annotations, 6 floors, 7 roofs, 8 structural items, 9 ceilings, interiors, 10 stairs, ramps, railings, Chapter 11, tags, Chapter 12, detailing, creating specific views, match lines, 14, creating sheets and printing, Chapter 15, creating rooms, area plans. Chapter 16, advanced wall topics. Chapter 17, creating families. Chapter 18, site topographically, rendering and representation. Chapter 19, importing, coordinating models. 20, phasing. 21 phasing, design options. Chapter 22, project collaboration index. And content, let's start reading. It's introduction, what you should read this book. Chapter 1, Autodesk Revit Real World. I'm sure you've been seeing plenty of presentations of how wonderful, the versatile, the 3D Autodesk Revit, the architectural revolution is. You may be thinking this is all too complicated for what do I do? I need 3D, and why do I need 3D anyway? But the answer is, you don't need 3D. You get a job out. This is after the presentation when we awarded with the project. First, you reach all of the plans. Next comes with the detail of the roundup game. We all have to come up to love the pole, specs together, and then plot this. And simple process works with the well worked until the 3D show up. But now we have the real clue where the things come from. The drawings don't look very good, and getting the drawing out of the door takes 3 times longer. The perception, anyway, I've certainly seen all of the above, but I've also seen an incredibly coordinated set of drawings with almost textbooks adherence to standards and graphics. Revit can go both ways. It depends on whether you make it if it go right way. On one other buzzword I may sure have heard about is building information models, or BIM. Although building information modeling is process, not an application, I don't fully buy it into that position. Right now, you're on the first page of building information modeling. Building information starts with Revit. If you understand Revit, you'll understand what the building information model. The chapter will drive into Revit, the graphical user interface, tackle 3 topics that make Revit and Revit: the Revit interface of the project browser, and file types and families. That's once again the Revit interface, project browser, and file type families. The Revit interface. We aren't we're not in CAD anymore. If you just bought this book, welcome to the Revit Real World, and then Revit was the majority of the process encounter with a flat 2D form platform. Instead of drafting and replacing components into the modeling, these components have the so-called third dimension to them, but logical methodology with the process. If you need to see with the modeling in 3D, and simple to click away with the maybe see with the remember that there's a big difference between 3D drafting modeling with the preamble behind. Let's go on with it. First of all, the Revit has no command prompt, no crosshairs. Stop. Don't go away just yet. You'll get used to it, I promise. And like with the CAD applications, Revit is heavily pared down, so to speak. It's way out for a reason. Revit is for the design architecturals and engineers. You don't need every command that the mechanical engineer would. An electrical engineer would need the functionality of the architectural would require. If you knew the Revit 2015 interface functionality I just mentioned above, but tucked away so not to interface with architectural pursuits. Note with the preceding paragraph, there's a certain website. You'll find that you'll get comfortable with it. There are many choices, options behind each command. Let's get started. Open Revit. Click on the icon on your desktop. Figure 1.1. You can launch Revit the architecture with a desktop icon. 2. After you start Revit, you'll see with the recent files with the window shown in Figure 1, 2 at the top of the row. List any of the projects you have been working on. With the bottom row, list families which you have been working on. The column on the right allows you to view some tutorial videos. If it's your first time, I recommend investigating this feature. 2. In the upper left-hand corner of the Revit window, you'll see a big blue R, which commonly known as the application icon. Click for the R to choose the new project. The new project dialog shown in Figure 1.3 opens with a click of the template file drop-down list. Select the architectural template. If you're a metric user, you click the Browse button. This will open the Windows Explorer. Go up one level to choose the US metric folder. Select the file called default metric RTE. It cannot be default metric extension RTE. If you cannot find the file, please go to the book's accompanying website and download all the files pertaining to the entire book, especially with the files files for chapter 1. Note the task physically opening the application out of the way to delve into Revit. Revit is certain the field of the Autodesk AutoCAD converts with the MicroStation converts, so you'll need to grasp it. First, you'll already have the CAD user knows with many of the difference between Revit and CAD. Some of the differences may be off-putting, while others may make you say, "I wish CAD did that." Or either way, you'll have to adjust a new workflow. Figure 1.3 with a new project allows you to try with a new project using the pre-existing template, or you can create a new template file. With the Revit workflow, with a new workflow may be easy for some of the top, whereas others will find it excruciatingly foreign. And to be honest, I found later the case first. Either the way is a simple concept. You need to slow down a bit from CAD habits. You need the entire modeling, drafting, notation. You feel you're going too slowly. Don't work. You do a lot of each click of the mouse. Execute a command with the Revit 3-step process at the top of the Revit window with the ribbon series of tabs built into the ribbon, and each tab contained with a panel with a ribbon in your Revit Launchpad. Speaking of the Launchpad, click with the wall button on the architectural is shown in Figure 1.4. The ribbon is the backbone of Revit. It shows the modified wall, door, window, component, column, roof, ceiling, floor, curtain system, curtain, grid, and mullion. After clicking the wall button, notice with the Revit it adds a tab to the ribbon and added additional choice specifically to the command you're running is shown in Figure 1.5. You may also know that the ribbon places additional options bars below the ribbon for even more choices. Figure 1.5 shows the optional bar that allows you to have additional choices for the current command. After you make your choice of the ribbon in the options bar, you can play with the object with the view window with a larger drawing area that takes up to 2/3 of the Revit interface. Place with the wall. Simply pick a point over the window, move with the pointer into the direction you want the wall to travel. The wall starts to form. Once you see that, you can press escape to exit the command. I just wanted to illustrate the behavior of the Revit during a typical command. You'll hear throughout this book always to remember to look at your options with no command prompt. The options bar will be one of your few guides. Using Revit isn't always easy on the first is this, but you just keep in the basic 3-step processes in mind, you'll be okay. Start command, choosing option, temporary tab, or options bars that appears, place the item on the view window. Thus, on the surface of the Revit appears with a fraction with the choice of the functionality with the offer for the AutoCAD with the drafting program for that matter, but it is true in the way that it does offer a few choices instead of the command, but with the choice of the Revit it does offer is much more with the robust, powerful with the Revit functional focus with the design with the construction build with the Revit gets in with the robust perform with the dynamic capabilities with the application through the placement of items, the functionality with the object as after the placing of them in the model. Now you know what they say, never judge a book by its cover unless of course the book you're reading right now. Let's keep going with the main focus of the Revit interface. The ribbon you'll be learning with the Revit extensively in Revit using with the ribbon. You'll see with the ribbon with the majority of the command with the execute Revit as you may conceive of it. You'll have a little choice to do so, however, the good because of the narrow the attention to what is right in front of you. When you click on the icon Revit with a ribbon, Revit will react with the icon with the new tab given you with the additional command with the options you need. With the Revit also keeps the existing tabs to help you with the current command as shown in Figure 1.6 again with the focus on with keeping your eyes in one place. Figure 1-6 show the ribbon breakdown. Show panels, wall door, wall, modified wall door, window, component column, roof, ceiling, floor, certain curtain systems, curtain grid, mutilation, railing, ramp, stairs, and no model text. In this book, I'll throw in quite a few new terms at you, but they're familiar with it quickly. The user have to discover the ribbon most likely to direct it. Choose with the tab of the ribbon to find with the panel with the tab to keep the example familiar. Select the wall button with the instruction will read on the build panel with the architect tab. Click the wall button. What's over the toolbar above the ribbon? The toolbar is called the quick access toolbar. A similar tool other than applications come with the field with shown with the popular commands. If you wanted to add commands over the toolbar, simply right click any icon, select to add to the quick access toolbar. Left down with the toolbar Revit application icon. Click on this icon, give it the access for the Revit functions. We'll be covered later in the book. One of the great icons I like to have docked on the quick access toolbar, select objects, modify icon. I like to add this icon to is shown in the following graphic. Know that you can see with the ribbon and the tab flows together. Let's look at another feature of the ribbon panels, also the reach beyond the immediate Revit interface, the property interface. You will see when you click on the wall button, when the new set of commands appears with the ribbon, the new set of commands combined with the basic modified commands with the tab. Specifically, the immediate process. In this case, the process is adding a wall. You also notice with the property dialog box near the left of the screen, change to shown figure 1-7, the property dialog box shown in the picture you're about to place. If you click in this picture, the Revit displays all of the walls available in the model. The displays is called the typical type selector drop down. Seen figure 1-8. Show the property, and then you left click it, and you'll see a property draw bounds with a help menu. Clicking on the properties button to display with the property dialog, typically the dialog shown in the default, show with the default, show with the location bases, and all your line items, dimension structures, identity, data, comments. Alright, the objective of the next exercise is to start placing walls into the model. Close Revit, closing on the close button with the upper right hand corner. Reopen Revit to start with a new project, Metro Imperial. On the architect tab, click on the wall button in the property dialog box. Select exterior brick CMU on the MTL stud for the type of the selector metric unit. Select the basic wall exterior brick on the MTL stud. This will look somewhat different throughout the book, but you'll get brick and slightly easier to work with. An Imperial wall shows different brick types of walls. You have an interior and your exterior, and then geometric masonry fills and stuff like that. Element properties. There are two different sets of the property Revit, the instant property and type properties. Instant properties are available immediately in the property dialog when you place or select an item. If you make a change to the element property, the only items that are effective in the model are the items you've selected. The property dialog box, as you mentioned, the property dialog box displays instant properties over the item you selected. With no item selected with the dialog, displays of the property with the current view on which you happen to be. You also have the ability to combine property dialog box with adjacent dialog, which is called the project browser. We'll examine the project browser shortly. Simply click with the top of the property dialog box as shown in figure 1-9. Drag with the project browser. Once you view the tab contained with the property with the tab contained with the project browser as shown in figure 1-9. Drag with the property dialog box onto the project browser. Let's take a closer look at the two category elements property Revit. Instant property. These items can be immediately called parameters or instant property with the parameter change only with the object being added with the model at this time. Also, you can select the item with it already been placed into the model with the parameters immediately with the instant property dialog change only with the item you select. But this makes sense with not all items built equally in the real world, but in figure 110 illustrated the instant property with the typical wall type properties. Figure 111, and when added, alter every item of the type and with the entire model to access the type of the product. Click edit type button in the property dialog box from figure 112 shows. At this point, you have two choices. You make with the new wall type, leaving the specific wall unmodified by clicking the duplicate button over the upper right over the dialog box, or you can start editing the wall type properties as shown in figure 113. Warning, I can't stress enough that if you're starting to modifying type of the properties without duplicating the type, you need to do this. You need to do so in a very deliberate manner. Easily affect the model unintended ways. discuss specifics of the wall type of the property. Chapter 16 on advanced wall topics. Figure 110 shows the instant property change of the current placed items and currently selected items. You show and see the constraints and the structural dimensions and identity data. Over here at the bottom show the properties and apply. Then the next one is type properties, which show the type property dialog box modified alter every occurrence of this specific entire model. Then we show the edit type button allows you to access type of the access type of properties, and then the type properties modified with the wall system global system settings. Clicking the preview button bottom of the dialog of the image displayed. Now that you've gained experience with the type property dialog box, it's time to go back and study with the options bar with the pertains to the placing of the wall. Because you're only exploring the element properties, click with the cancel button to return with the model back in the option bar. Find the location line menu through this menu that you can set with the wall justification. Select finish face exterior in figure 114. 114 shows by selecting finishing face the exterior. Now you know that the wall will be dimensioned from the outside finish. So it shows under location line we have wall center, core center, finish face, exterior, finish face, interior, core face, and face, exterior, core face, interior. On the option bar, be sure with the chain check over the box is selected with the figure 114. This allows you with the draw of the walls. Continuously draw panel has serious sketch options because the specific wall is straight. Make sure the line button is selected as shown in figure 115. Shows the line button and you have your regular draw tools, and you can draw any shape you need. Get used to studying in the Revit in the options bar. There'll be a crutch, and there'll be your crutch as you start with the Revit. Of course, at some point you'll need to begin placing items physically in the model. This is where the view window comes into play. The view window, put in simply with the big white area where the object goes over the view window, where the all of the actions become populated with this model, with the notice of the background is white, with the cover of the sheets plot on an area white. With the Revit, you will see what you get with literally line weights and Revit are driven by the object, not by the layer. Revit are counting on color number 5, which is blue, for example, specific line width when you plot, so you can immediately see the thickness that all your lines will be before you plot. See figure 116 with a novel idea. 115.16 show the view window collects the result. You see with the different left, right, and north, south, left, right. Metric users should note that the type of the millimeters of the metric abbreviations when entering amounts are suggested with the exercise 1, except for the abbreviations. Simply enter the number provided within the parentheses. To continue placing some of the wall model, with keep going with the exercise you have them in with following along. You can start clicking the wall button with the architect tab of the property dialog box, such as the exterior brick and CMU, MLT stud, or basic wall exterior MLT stud. For metric user, make sure that the wall is justified with a finish face exterior. But you can now proceed with the wall command running with the correct wall type with the selected position with the cursor location, similar with the illustration figure 117, picking a point on the view window. When the finish point picked with the move of the cursor to the left, notice that the two things happen. The wall seems to snap in the horizontal plane with the blue dash lines locked from the horizontal position, and the Revit there's no ortho. No, I'm alright. I'm alright. Revit aligns typical compass increments 0, 90, 180, 270, and 45. Also, note the blue dimension extending with the first point to the last point. Although the dimensions can't be typed over with this type of the dimension, temporary dimension for the as you have to place the items in type 100 feet with a press enter key. But you didn't need the type of the foot marker. Revit thinks in terms of feet with the millimeters. You'll know that 100 feet equals 30,000 millimeters. You'll, with the wall command still running, move the cursor straight up at the endpoint of the 100 feet long wall of the figure 118, type 80 foot, and press enter. You will now have two walls. Move your cursor to the right until you run into another blue alignment line. Notice that your temporary dimensions are 100 foot, 0 inches. Revit understands symmetry with it. After seeing the alignment in the temporary dimension 100, 0 inches, pick this point. Move the cursor straight down 16 feet, press enter. With the move of the cursor right for the 16 feet, press enter. With the press A escape key to twice. Do your walls look like figure 119? And if you're not trying, you'll need to comfortably procedure as much as possible. When working with a Revit, starts with the ability to work with a view of the window, learning quirks, and the field with the interface figure 119. To get used to the Revit flow, so always remember the 3-step start a command, focus over the option, move to the view window, add the elements of the model. If you start with the command, then focus immediately on the view with the OS sitting with the wondering what to do next. If you do not forget, you check your option bar with the appropriate Revit tab. Let's going back. Let's keep going back over the code of the building with a few familiar commands if you've never interacted with the computer before. Don't worry, these commands are simple. The easiest, most important topic is how to select an object. Object selection with a review. Revit has similarities to AutoCAD MicroStations. One of the similarities is ability to perform simple object selection and execute with common modify commands. For example, your mirror is 16 foot 0 inches over the L-shaped wall at the bottom of the building. ZA for zoom all near to 16 feet 0 inches. Wall picks up on the left click, right hold down the left mouse button with the cursor at the point over the right wall above the 100 foot 0 inches wall. You'll see with the window start with the form run. You'll see a window start to form run the selection window down on the left to pass two walls after the two highlight walls shown in figure 120. Let go of the mouse button. You've selected the walls. These are all the figure 120 shows using cross windows to select two walls. There are two ways of selecting an object using cross window and by using the box. Approach plays an important role in how to select the items. Crossing windows an object selection method in which selects the object with the placing window over the cross of the object with the crossing window allows you to start right into the left hand with a place for the crossing window represented with the dash line composition figure shown in 120. Box object selection mode selects only items that are 100% inside of the box. You place with the methods useful when you select the specific items fast including large objects that you may want to into these selections. A box always starts from the left and works over the right. Line type of the selection window continuous line figure 121. Now that you have experienced selected items, you can execute the basic modify commands. Let's begin with a mirroring of one of the most popular modify commands. Figure 121 shows selecting only objects surrounded by the window, using the box and leaving out with maybe partially within the box, modifying and mirroring. Revit architecture allows you either to select the item first and then execute the command, start with the command, select the object modified. This is true most action items, but it's certainly true with every command over the modified toolbar. Make sure that the two 16-foot walls are selected. Modify the wall selected, modify wall tab appears. Modify panel, click mirror, drag, draw axis button is shown in figure 122, and then show your cursor change with the crosshair mirror icon illustrating that you need ready to draw a mirroring plane. Make sure that the copy checked box is shown in figure 123. Show that these are the options you choose at every command in Revit. Hover your cursor over the inside of the 80-foot wall with a vertical wall until you will reach midpoint. Revit display with a triangular icon indicating the found with a midpoint wall you see over the wall. See figure 124. 124 Revit has snaps similar with the most CAD applications. Revit gets snaps only if you only choose the drawing icon options bar during the command. 6. When triangular midpoint snaps appear with the pick disappoint with the pick of the part where the triangle appears, move with the wheel over the cursor directly over the right of the wall. The alignment line appears in shown figure 125. Over the quick of the pick and over the point along the path. When you pick the second point, the walls are mirrored with and joined with the south wall. Now that you have some of the community with the mirroring items in time to adding components to your model using items in place earlier. If you're having trouble following with these processes, retry the first few procedures. Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, perhaps they had rather it would have sped things up. You want the first few walls to look like figure 126. 125 shows mirroring walls and picking of the midpoint over the vertical wall, picking a horizontal point along the lines, and then your building should look like this illustration. Building existing geometry. You have some of the geometry to work with. You have some of the objects in your model. The Revit starts to come alive with the benefits of building information modeling. You'll become apparently quickly explained later in this chapter. For example, to be careful, the Revit knows of the walls. You can add identical geometry model with simply selecting an item, telling Revit to create a similar item. Suppose you wanted the radio wall, same exact type of the other walls modeled with a form following steps. Zoom all or ZA for the entire screen. Press escape. Select one of the walls on the model. It doesn't matter which one. Right click the wall. Select create similar in figure 127. And right click menu. Create similar and the modify place wall tab start and radius arc with the shown figure 128. Show that you can, because you've started with a command with a view window doesn't mean you can ignore your options. So here we have the geometry modify view measure create and draw. Note, you right-click on the item, you can choose with the repeat last command, select the item with the current view with the entire project. Again, with the option, make sure the location of the line is set with a finished face exterior, but it should be already. When your wheel button on your mouse, zoom into the upper corner of the building, select with the end point of the wall shown in figure 129, with the point you're picking with the corner of the heavy line, top of the thinner line represents the concrete belt course below, having trouble picking over the correct point, don't be afraid to zoom into the area, scrolling with the mouse wheel. Metric users do not have the concrete belt. Just pick up the outside of the heavy line representing brick face. Figure 129. Select for the top corner wall start with a new radio. Select for the opposite outside corner of the bottom wall. Again, if the most accurate, will probably have the zoom into each of the making your picks. 10. Move your cursor to the right until you see with the curved wall. Pause for the see with the alignment line with the possible tangent. Snap icon as well with the rivet to understand whether you have want to arc tangent on the two lines. You've already placed them in the model. You have the tangent snap icon chosen. The third point, you walls should look like figure 130. Just because you place the wall in the model doesn't mean the wall looks like it would look like it appear. Revit can do a lot with a view control and how objects are displayed. Show the 130 show the completed exterior wall should look like this illustration. View control object display. After earlier proceed with a nice wall with the adds with the drawing with the don't reflect with the detail with the need with the proceed with construction documents. The great thing about Revit though, it has already done everything you need to do, but you can know. Now tell Revit to display the graphics you want to see them. The view control bar at the bottom of the view window, you see with the scanning toolbar showing figure 131 view control bar. Showing on the bottom of the view window, you'll see the view control bar with the graphic views, and the one is highlighted, it shows the scale, and then some different, the one that's highlighted shows the detail, veil of the course, and the view control bar's outline show the scale of the first item of the view control bar's scale function gets with a small mention here with a huge detail, showing with the scale of the view, selecting the menu, change the scale here, the Revit will scale the annotation symbols accordingly. Detail level allows you to view the model at different qualities. You have 3 levels to choose from: coarse, medium, or fine. And then it shows the scale menu allows you to change the scale of your view, and the detail value allows you the different views level the current view. If you want more graphical information on the view, select fine to see how the view is adjusted using this control following steps. Click with the detail level icon, choose fine. Zoom in on a wall corner. Notice that the wall components are now showing in the view. Tip: when you change with the view control with the view with a temporary display, with a telling the Revit that you want to have the plot the view with the view on the screen with the view, you'll see when it comes to the plotter. There are other types of view control bar with the will discuss it, but becoming applicable to the exercise. The view tab of the cover of the Revit is one big happy model. You quickly find with the simple viewing with a model with a quite important, it can take advantage of some of the functionality with the navigation bar with the activate. The navigation bar first to the go to with the view tab, click for the user interface button, and then go to the default 3D view. Make sure that the navigation bar is activated, showing figure 134. One item you will need to do and look at with the navigation bar is the steering wheel. With the steering wheel, the steering wheel allows you to zoom, rewind, pan, and click over the steering wheel icon. Larger control panel appears with the zoom window. And choosing one of the options, simply left click on one of the options, hold down on the mouse button X for the maneuver. Show the view tab allows you to determine the navigation bar from the user interface. You have the view cube, navigation system, project browser, status bars, status bar work set with a design option, recent film with the browser organizations, keyboard shortcuts. Using the steering wheel, following the go back to floor plan 1 and pick up the steering wheel icon with the navigation bar figure 135. You can use the steering wheel to navigate through a view. When the steering wheel is viewed with a window with this shown figure 135, left click and then hold the zoom in and out, click hold the rewind steering wheel. You can now find with the older video shown figure 136. 136, because of the Revit, it should include the zoom commands with the undo functionality, but you can rewind with the finding previous views. Do the same with the pan, which is found with the outer ring with the steering wheel. After you click with the pan and navigate to the other parts of the model. Although you can do this with the wheel button, you still prefer with the method of panning and zooming. For those who prefer icons, you will want to use the icon traditional zooms as well. When you're finished using the steering wheel, press Shift W or X to close out. Traditional zooms, next item, navigation bar. Good old zoom controls ability to zoom in and out, pan, are included in the function shown in figure 137, which were zoom in the region out, zoom in to fit, zoom all to fit, zoom sheet size, previous pan zoom, and the next pan zoom. Of course, lift. You have the mouse wheel with you can pan, zoom, and plan either with holding down the wheel with the pan with the wheel button to steer in and out. Thin lines. When the view tab, you can also icon call the thin lines is shown in figure 138. Let's talk about what the icon does. Thin lines show the displays all lines created simply in the width and regardless of the zoom level. In Revit architecture, there are no layers. Line weights are controlled by the actual object that they represent. On the view window with the line, you can see with the line weights as mentioned before, but you can get sometimes, however, the line weights may be thicker with a smaller scale. But I think when the thin lines are shown, figure the 138, you can force this is in the view tab. You can practice thin lines function, picking thin lines icon, zooming in upper right hand corner building, picking thin lines icon again, toggle mode back and forth. Notice that thin lines are very heavy. Line weight should concern you, as mentioned earlier. No layers in Revit architecture. The topic addressed in chapter 13, creating specific views and match lines. 3D view brings you with a new conversation, complete with the following steps. You'll move to us for the discussion of the Revit model comes closer. The 3D viewing icon Showing figure 138, show that in the view there's a 3D viewing icon that shows like a house.
You want BLT?
No, I'm good.
I'm making you some bacon.
I'm alright.
I can make you a BLT.
I'm alright.
I know how much you love them.
I'm
I'm
alright.
making you a BLT.
I'm alright. Fine, I'll eat it later tonight.
But
I'll eat it tonight.
I'll make the bacon. I'll fix the lettuce. I'll slice the tomato. But I ain't putting it on the bread because it'll get all soggy and shit.
Okay. On the view control while the visual style button, show with the realistic is shown figure 140. Show with the wireframe hidden shade with the consistent colors, ray and trace. Again with the view control bar, shadow icon, turning on shadows shown figure 141. Shadows create a nice effect with extreme but expensive with the RAM. Warning, if you turn on shadows, do so with the creator. Could be a single of the worst items with the Revit determined performance degradation. Your mouse will slow down when the shadow's on. 3D view tab with the cubit on the right hand corner view window, different perspective of the model. Clicking on the quadrants of the cube 142. View cube looks very different sides of the building. Tip is the best way to navigate 3D view. Press and holding shift key with the keyboard. Holding shift key presses. Holding down the wheels on the mouse to move the cursor around with it move down. Your model should be similar to the 143. Metric users do not have the concrete belt, concrete block cursor below the brick. Go back to the floor plan. Wait, how that brings important topic to Revit the project browser. Look it up. If you're happy to review it, you don't want to screw up with the inadvertently the lock with the orientation as you're shown. This is an important thing you need to know because you're starting creating sheets. You also sometimes find that 3D view randomly spinning around is actually on the sheet. For this lesson, you'll leave the view unlock the project browser for the review of the front row of the building information modeling with a building information modeling swept over the art industry for the many reasons, but the biggest reason for the fully integrated model on the front of you when you need to open it with a different floor plan elevation detail with the wrong sheet or 3D view. You can find it right there in the model as you means also with the means of the workflow with the chain with drastically. When you think about all of the external references for the convoluted with the folder structure that make for the typical job, you can start to relate with the Revit that you use with the project browser. Revit that you use with the project browser instead of the folder of structure that you previously had in CAD. This approach changes the playing field of the process closing of the file with the year in opening of the files which you need for the work and a restructure with the Revit to enable you to stay with the model where you never have to leave one file to open another. You also never need to rely on external references to complete the set of the drawing. Revit and project browser put it all in front of you. Starting you with the project browser following along to the far left of the Revit interface combined with the project browser with the property dialog box. At the bottom of the dialog box you'll see with the two tabs showing figure 144 with a click of the project browser tab. Show the 144 show the project browser in between the building information modeling window explorer with the project browser show and it's on the bottom of the project tab. Project browser is broken into three categories. First category is view. The first view category is floor plan. Floor plan category is double click level 1. Double click level 2. Notice that the wall looks different than the level 1. Display is set for the cores. This is because any of the change of the view control bar view only when you leave level 2 for the first time change of the display level that have not yet been made. 4. In the view window, you select little icons look like little houses. See figure 145 with elevation marker. Metric users, you have the round elevation marker to right might be in your building or overlapping going with the walls. In the case of it, you need to move it out of the way. Symbols with the elevation marker for the plane, with the need with the move with the ends, with the must do with the picking of the windows. 2 items. The elevation marker picks around with the box. Elevation marker with both the small triangle with the small box. Select with the move with your mouse over the selected object cursor. Turn with the move with the icon. Pick over the point of the screen. Move the elevation marker out of the way. In project browser, find the elevation building elevation category. Double click south with the mouse over the project browser. Notice of the 3D views category. Expand with the 3D view category, double-clicking 3D choice brings you back with 3D view when you're looking over the before with the exercise note with the navigating through the project browser, adding of the components of the model will be much easier now. Next, you'll begin adding some windows. Warning, when you happen to my next windows. By clicking all these views, simply opening of the view over the window over the building, not another the file will show it somewhere else. So for some of the usually with the confusing with the initially for the me with the clicking around with the opening view with the shade opening with the quickly opening menu view with the manager of the views get out with the hand. Upper right hand corner rather the dialog box you'll see with the traditional close with the minimum maximum buttons for the application just below with the other traditional buttons for the file opening is shown figure 146 click for the X to close with the current view. Close the view by clicking X on the view, but it does not enclose the Revit actual file for the matter. It's simply close the view. In this table, they have the multiple view opening situation with the quick command with the manage for the view tab. View for the window menu with the perform of the following steps. On the window panel with the view tab with the switch button with the button shown in figure 147. The switch window menu with a list of all of the current views. After the menu is expanded look of the open views, go to the 3D view with the selecting the Windows menu, clicking on the 3D icon top of the screen with going to 3D view in the project browser with the open Windows panel, closing the hidden windows, into the project browser, open level 1. In the Windows panel, select the tile windows by using the type of my command. But I used to use to type my commands. You still type your commands. The Revit menus you have the notes over the many of the menus items over the 2 or 3 letter abbreviations to the right. Keyboard shortcut associated with the command you make for the other own. Make your own shortcuts. You can modify the existing keyboard shortcut for the navigating and view tab on the window panel. Click the user interface button with the drop down menu with a click user interface button with the drop down menu. Click the keyboard shortcut icon. Here you can add modify keyboard shortcuts. Well, with the Windows tile, you can see with the level 1 floor plan along with the 3D view side with a select one of the walls with the level 1 floor plan. Notice if you now select the 3D view, the views have open mirror representation of the model with respect to each view of the model can have its own independent view setting. Click on each view with a ZA for the zoom, all doing the zoom to extend each of the window for this using a habit to get into. You're at a save point now to save the file, but this also brings logical play for the which to discover the very types and associations with the building information modeling model for all types and families of the Revit architectural unique way. Save the file with the different type of file with the building information modeling model. Learn how to do with it, how and why Revit has chosen the methods along with these steps. So click on the save icon in figure 148. In the Save As dialog box option in the lower right hand corner of 149. In the File Save Options dialog, place at the top where you can specify the number of the backup shown in figure 150. Set this value to 1. This option with File Save Option dialogs lets you specify the number of the backups view for the preview. Revit provides for the option because you click with the Save icon, duplicates the file with the added suffix of 0001 and file name. Each time you click with the Save icon, when the Revit records the save, it adds another file called 0002, leaving 001 file intact. The default to do with it 3 times Revit starting place 001, 002, 003, 3 most current file. For the previous section, you can specify with which view the file will be previewed. I keep the active view for this. This way I can get an idea of whether the file is up to the date with the basis state of the view. Click OK. Creating a folder somewhere and save the file in the folder. Name of the file. You would example of the NERV for non-experience required book. Of course, you can name in the file anything you wish. You can add, make your own project using the separate example of the books and guidelines. Now that you have the experience adding components of the model, the time to investigate exactly when you're adding here. Each component is a member of the Revit calls a family. Understanding Revit Architecture RVT, Revit Architectural File. There are 3 separate Revit applications: Revit Architecture, Revit Structure, and Revit MEP. With all Revit applications have the RVT file extension. You can directly open Revit Produce in any of these 3 applications. You do not need object item enablers to read items due to pertain to the discipline. System and hosted families are RFAs. Revit modified with a compilation of items in the family. These 2 typical families: system families and hosted families. System family can be found only with a Revit model and can be stored in separate location. Hosted family is inserted similar to a block or cell and is stored in external directory file extension hosted RFA. System families are inherited with the current model with the aren't inserted with the traditional sense. You can modify a system family only through the element of the property within the model. The wall you put up in the point or system families, for example, you do not have the insert of the separate file in order to find on the wall with the type of the system family. The Revit architectural model file with the walls, floors, roof, ceilings, stairs, ramp, shafts, and room schedules, quantity, and takeoffs. Wall, floors, roof, ceiling, stairs, ramp, shafts, rooms, schedule, quantity, takeoffs. Text dimension views. System family to define your model. As you can see, with the pretty much of the coverage of the most of the building elements of the however the more of the components that include the list, the items that can be loaded on the model are called hosted families. Hosted families of the family other than while all other families of Revit are hosted within some way, but the system family a level of reference plane, for example, the wall sign scone is hosted in a family in which we would enter the dependent of the wall hosted family carry out with the file extension RFA. Enter the hosted family into the model file with these types as if never experienced required RV host file with level 1 architectural tab, clicking the door button, modify place Place Door tab. Click Load Family button. Shown figure 151 opens Load Family dialog box. So for the RFA, show over the mode, you have your Load Family during the placement of the hosted file. Browse with the door directory. Note that on your network, your directory should not may not be the same in the book. Contact the CAD or Building Information Model Manager or whoever loaded the Revit onto your computer to find exactly where they may have the map the Revit. Notice that there is a list of doors, single raised panel door, RFA family. Click open metric use to select the M double panel 2 family. In the property dialog box, tap the selector shown 152 in Nova Edition, bringing in the door family. I'll show you with a different type of window. For these types of simply the variation of the same door. No longer I have to explode with a block modifier that will fit in your window. Figure 152 shows that each of the family with a container with the multiple types associated with it. Select single flush 36 inches by 84 inches, shown figure 152. Zoom with the upper left-hand corner of the building and shown figure 152. 3 inches for the door to panel, modify the placement of the wall. Note that before you have the cursor over the actual wall of the Revit, that will allow you to add of the door to the model, as shown figure 153. With the pointer directly on the top of the door wall, you will see with the outline of the door, picking with the pointer of the wall of the door is inserted with the wall cover with the depth of the next chapter. 11. Delete with the door is placed in selecting of the pressing delete with the key of the keyboard. This fracture for the next chapter. You also have the method to insert with the hosted thing with a model quite with in this book with a daily basis when you with the Revit with the family is loaded with the Revit the architect with no live path with the back to with the file with the was loaded add for the Revit model with it becomes part of the model to with the view a list of the family Revit model with the project browser looking at the family categories. Then you'll see a list of families, their types of the show in figure 154 show with the two main Revit files that have been addressed. The two others are crucial for the development of Revit model. Show the all families listed on the project browser for the use of the Revit template file for the RTE file. The RTE extension pretends to Revit template file for the company surely have developed the template on stream, but it will do so for the Revit template file. For the RTE file is simply the default with the template with all of your company standards built into it. When you start a project, you use the file with the shown with the Revit template files. You with the following step with the click of the application button, select the new project with the end result with the dialog box. 155, close with the browse button. 3. Browse the category. Several of the other templates you can now choose with a different template. Click and cancel twice. When you start with the object, use the RTE template. You start with a new family. However, you also use the RFT file. RFT, using Revit family time file. The Revit family files is another type of template. This one pertains to the family with the nice of the Revit that has every family with a fully developed to shoot with it needs. Alas, it doesn't. You have to develop your own family starting with your family template to show how exactly the family template performs the steps of the application button to select for the new family to open with the browse dialog box shown in figure 156. Browse these templates. You must certainly use many of them. Click the cancel button. Tempting, I know, but we'll cover creating the families through the chapter 17, creating families. As mentioned earlier, you're reaching a certain point where when you run out of the Revit to provide with the content, but you happen to feel brave, go ahead, play around one of the templates. You'll have nothing to lose except time. Figure 150 shows of the creating file starting templates for the RFT files, and then are you experienced? Now you can navigate Revit architectural interface, start with the model, find with the command for the Revit and understand with these control with your options from the change with the keyboard shortcuts to make similar with the CAD and navigate through the project browser and understand with the Revit interface broken down into views and tell the difference between two different types of families, understanding how to build the model using them. Chapter 2, creating a model.